Yes, guys, what's good? It's your boy Gurns from Mango Masala, Pi Radio's South Asian show, and I am joined here today by Canada's own Blitzkrieg. Now, tell me that I pronounced that right, yeah? Blitzkrieg?
Yeah.
Where's the name come from then?
So obviously, if anyone who studied history, Blitzkrieg is a war strategy that was used by the Germans. And basically, in World War II, they developed this war strategy. It was high speed, high agility, and it was an unexpected attack that was unstoppable. And so when I started rapping, especially being an Indian background, Punjabi background, it wasn't very common when I started rapping as an Asian, rapping well. So everyone would always say, oh, when you rap, it's like a blitzkrieg because it's unexpected and it's all out. So that's what they started calling me in my neighborhood is here comes the blitzkrieg, here comes the blitzkrieg, because they'd be like, when you come around, it's unexpected and you rap with so much energy and like intensity. So that's where the name came from.
And it's so nice as well because you see people who have like nicknames, like me, for example. My real name's Carlos. I call myself Gurns just because it's like radio persona. But it's cool when you've actually got a name that people have been calling you rather than you just inventing it yourself. Like,
yeah, we had this thing in our neighborhood growing up where you weren't allowed to name yourself. Like everyone had a nickname, but you weren't allowed to name yourself. Your name had to be given to you, kind of, so that's what I got. I got Blitzkrieg. I'm glad it could have gone a lot of wrong way.
Nah, that is definitely really good.
Yeah.
So how has it been? Obviously 600cc has received a lot of positive attention from around the globe, I'd say.
Yeah.
So how has it been, like, basically taking in all that positive feedback?
It's amazing, man, just to know that like I've been doing music since 2000. So it's 2021. So the fact that 21 years I'm still making music and it's still traveling around the globe, before I, like, as you and me were talking off air before, is I had to live in England to get my music out there. So initially when I was a kid, I was in high school, I had to literally pack up my rucksack, move to England and move around different cities in England to make an impact. Now with the power of technology, it's amazing to be sitting in Toronto, Canada, make a song and then send it out, and then it get playlisted and played everywhere around the world, including England. Like I feel England is like my second home because I've spent so much time there. So I love the fact that, it's getting love and attention out there.
Can you explain it as well? Because I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
600cc, is that to do with like motorbikes? Because I have no idea.
Yeah. So basically 600cc describes the engine size of a racing motorcycle. So the story behind the entire track is that I'm an avid motorcycle rider. I've been riding for 10 years. And funny enough, it's weird the way God and the world works. In November, after riding for 10 years, never having an issue, in November, I was in a nearly fatal motorcycle accident. And I was hospitalized for 3 months. They had to perform emergency surgery on me. I was in an accident on the motorway in central Toronto. And they had to shut down the airway, bring ambulances to me. I was rushed to the hospital. They performed emergency surgery where they had to install like metal screws and plates in my leg. And I was in a long-term care facility for all of the winter from November to February. So what happened is I had to learn how to walk again. Till this day, I'm still learning how to walk properly again. And when I was sitting down and I was going to release this album, I thought to myself, number one, I got motivated to release the album because I thought to myself, you know what, it really makes you realize how short time is. And I had all this music sitting on my hard drive, so I wanted to release it. But I wanted to set it off with 600cc as a way of paying homage to my recovery, as a celebration of, and just reminding myself that, it's not about how many times you fall down. It's about how many times you get back up. And the fact that the motorcycle doesn't own me, I own the motorcycle, so you fall down, you get back up and you keep riding.
For sure.
Yeah.
So on that note, are you keen to get back on it, or is that you done with motorcycles now?
No, it's a way of life, bro. Just like music. It doesn't matter what happens. Like obviously I would probably ride a different, like I didn't do anything to get in the accident. It was somebody else's fault, but I would probably take more precautions next time. but I'm not ready to stop writing. It's a way of life. It's an extension of who I am.
How was it collaborating with obviously Roach Killer and E equals MC as well?
So it's interesting because all three of us are Canadians that moved to the UK, and when I was telling you I lived all over the UK, Roach Killer was my roommate. So
Really?
Roach is my best friend. So like we share everything together. So when I was living in all these different destinations, when I had a flat on Baker Street in central London, I was living with Roach. Me and him, we literally went from being Canadians, not knowing anyone in the UK, literally landed. We had the immigrant experience where we landed in the UK with a couple $100 in the suitcase, and we made careers for ourselves out there. And so collaborating with him it's always natural. Like we have so many songs sitting on the hard drive. I could literally release 2 albums worth of Blitzkrieg and Roach Killer collaborations. And Bobby, E equals MC, that's who I was living with in Leicester. He used to live in Leicester. So all of us are from here, and all of us made Asian music. But at the time, back then in the mid 2000s, the UK was the quote unquote mecca of Asian music. So to make it and to be known, you had to come out to the UK and make a name for yourself. So we literally all at different times packed our bags, came out there. And Bobby was the first. Sorry, I call him Bobby because that's his real name. E equals MC was the first one that came out to the UK, and then we would come stay with him in Leicester.
It is really interesting that you say that, because I'd say now it's that there's like, I think still the British Asian scene is still a thing, but obviously you have got the Canadian scene, you've got the US scene, you've got the back home scene, literally India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, all that.
Yeah.
So it is cool to see that Canada especially has its own scene. Like I've spoken to quite a few people and they've said like, yeah, it's actually really like popping off in Canada at the moment.
I would say that Canada is probably, other than India, Canada is at the forefront of urban Asian music. Like AP Dillon, all those guys are from here. Big Bird's from here. Sidhu Moosewala literally was here as an exchange student, foreign student, and he met Big Bird and Sonny Malton here. Superwoman's from here. Just Rain's from here. Humble the Poet's from here. All of us, even though we may not all be friends that see each other all the time, we're all people that know of each other, and we all have come up around the same ends, So
Sure.
Canada's always had the talent, but the way I explain it is the best way to think about it is kind of like how New York dominated hip hop in the early 80s and the 90s, and eventually the West Coast with Dr. Dre and them had their shine, and then now obviously for the past 15, 20 years, Atlanta has really taken over the hip hop scene. And that's the same thing with, urban Asian music. It was birthed in the UK. That is the home of British urban Asian music. But obviously it was only a matter of time where the rest of the world is inspired by it and does their own takes on it. And it just happens to be Toronto's time right now.
That is one thing I wanted to ask as well, because obviously Toronto has its own, outside of the Asian scene, it has its own Toronto sound. You have like Drake, The Weeknd, etc. So I wanted to ask, do you think there's any similarities between the Toronto typical urban sound and the Toronto urban Asian sound?
I mean, now they're starting to be like, you have to remember, like for me and Roach and E equals MC, there was no Drake when we first came out to the UK. We started coming to the UK in 2004. So Drake didn't get famous until I think 2010. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but somewhere around there, yeah. So there was nobody super famous. Like we had local celebrities, but we had no one that was on like a Drake Weekend, Justin Bieber type of platform back then. So now when I see the younger kids coming up, the ones that have been directly influenced by Drake or The Weeknd, I'm noticing that their sound, when they make, like AP Dillon in them is a perfect example, because their sound is very trappy, very gloomy, like weekendy almost, so infused with Asian music. So you can see that direct, influence with the younger people.
Yeah, I do certainly think from you. I have had a quick listen through to the Demo Tapes album, and I think listening to that, getting your sound, I would say is very much old school hip hop meets basically Bollywood slash other South Asian samples.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that old hip hop sound is definitely very clear. Like I don't know if it, forgive me if this isn't your favorite rapper or anything, but honestly, when I was listening to you, I got very much like Eminem vibes in terms of like the way that your flow is and that
The
sort of
flow
thing.
is, you
Yeah.
know, what's really interesting about this project is the reason why it's called demo tapes is these are all songs that I recorded between 2003 to 2011. There's nothing newer than 2011 on this entire project. That's why I called it demo tapes, because these are essentially my demos that helped me get signed to come over to the UK and start releasing albums. So, and the reason why I decided to put this out is it's just a appetizer. It's a pre-teaser to, I have 3 more albums coming after this that are brand new music that I've recorded recently, and those are a lot more reflective of a trappy type sound, a lot more where you'll be able to see something kind of like, okay, I see that Toronto sound in there and stuff like that. Sure. But we had, you know, it's me and Roach were laughing in the fact that 600cc, we literally recorded it in E equals MC's basement in Toronto in 2010. This is the original file. I haven't remixed it. I haven't touched it up. I haven't mastered it. I haven't mixed it. I literally just took it, put it on Spotify, and decided to promote it. And it's been playlisted by Spotify India, multiple BBC stations. You guys are playing it. So it just shows that when artists that have integrity and credibility put out music, it doesn't really matter how old it is. It'll always work. Music stands the test of time.
Yeah, definitely. It's timeless. Like,
Yeah.
and it's mad. Like, honestly, I wouldn't have thought that track was made in 2010. Maybe if you'd said like 2017 or something like that, I'd be like, yeah, fair. But that long ago, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Impressive.
Yeah, thank you, man. And that's kind of what it was this accident really changed my output on things a lot, where as artists, we tend to hold on to stuff. We'll record a lot of stuff, but we may not release it. We'll always just keep it on our hard drive and stuff. And, you know, after you get into a life-altering experience, you realize to yourself, what's the point of having this? I have songs with Roach Killer. I have songs with Juggy D, Deep John Do. I have songs with H. Dami, Rishi Rich, all just sitting on my hard drive. Why? Might as well let the world hear them. You know what I mean? So that's what demo tapes is.
Definitely. I mean, I was going to ask, actually, obviously, I know that, well, when I looked into demo tapes, it was described as a collection of old and new, but from what you've just said, it's a collection of old and even older.
Yeah.
But I was going to ask, besides the fact that they're unreleased tapes that you wanted to share with everyone, is there anything else that sort of like brings them together, like, or any reason why you put them in the track list order or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them. So I have way more songs than this that are unreleased, obviously. But the reason why I picked these ones are anyone that's kind of followed my career, these happen to be the songs that anytime I'm around and someone that's a diehard Blitz fan or that's been kind of following my career from the mid 2000s or whatnot, these are the songs that I get asked about all the time. Like, hey, you know, where's Hit Hit Pass? Like a song, for example, like Hit Hit Pass, which is on demo tapes, was a huge underground success in Toronto. Like that made us celebrities in Toronto when I was in high school. And that's, if you talk to anyone that knows us from the foundations, they'll always say, yeah, man, Hit Hit Pass or Exclusive. Exclusive was the first song that Universal Music and Def Jam Music UK contacted me while I was a kid in Toronto and licensed off me. So these are all songs that were previously unavailable digitally, and people kept asking me for them. And I thought to myself, you know what? Okay, I'll put them. I might as well just package them together in terms of request, in terms of what are the top 10 songs that people always ask me for. And I kind of put them together. But mind you, not all of them people have heard before. Like 600cc is brand new to the entire world. Hometown Love is brand new to the entire world. So there's a good 3-4 songs. I would say about half of the project is like no one's ever heard it. And then the other half is songs that like Put Your Hands Up was on the Mentor Collective. It was the first song on the Mentor Collective mixtape, which allowed them to, not because of me, but their mixtape allowed them to get a deal with 2.9 and then blow up, you know, with Rishi Rich and Jay Sean and them.
Like you've just been saying now about how obviously these tracks weren't available digitally before now. So as someone who's been in the industry and seen things go gradually from the days of CDs to iTunes to full-on streaming and everything digital.
Right.
Do you find that you prefer how things were, or do you think it's better now with streaming, or did both have their positives and negatives?
I mean, like everything, you know, you can't resist change in the world. So everything has its positive and negative. Like the positive is that with the click of a button, you're able to share music with the entire world. And before there was gatekeepers, you know, like before, if you weren't signed to a label and if you weren't on the certain radio stations and programs or certain TV stations, like back in the day, just to show an example, we were able to dominate the UK by being signed to a few labels. Like I was signed to VIP, Roach was signed to Movie Box. My executive producers were Tiger Style. His executive producer was Surinder Ratan. So we were able to come to the UK and literally by being on a few key radio stations, a few key television stations, and a few key magazines, we dominated the country at that time because everyone knew who we were, because those were the only ways to get information back then. Now, there's a million ways to get out there and a million ways to get information. So on one way, it's a good thing. Like I don't have to literally jump on a plane every 3 months and come to the UK. But also the downfall of it is because of the low entry points into getting into the business now, everyone's releasing music and it's not necessarily good, you know? So there's a lot of, now it's a bit harder to get yourself heard because there's so many people. Like literally, I forgot what the statistic is, but I can only imagine just in the British Asian scene itself, every day there's probably like at least 50 to 100 songs that are released.
It's mad.
Right? So yeah.
Speaking about songs that you have done, obviously going back a few years, you were part of the soundtrack for Gully Boy on the track Gory. So how was it to obviously be part of that soundtrack, like not only for a movie that has done extremely well, like I read it broke some figure that the last movie to do it was Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, so to be on that level is mad, but also to obviously be part of a film that focuses on the life of a rapper beyond everything else.
Yeah, I mein it's amazing the fact that, you know, hip hop in India is finally at that point where it's getting the recognition that it deserves. Because there's no doubt that hip hop is it's probably the dominant music form in the world right now. So the fact that it's, you know, they were able to make a movie that wasn't your typical movie of a guy chasing a girl around a tree singing like weird love songs and stuff. It was a song. It was a movie about real life. A guy that comes from a disadvantaged background that uses hip hop to be his voice. You know, and that's the story of so many people around the world. And just being a part of that, man, like that's going to go down in history, and that's something I'll be able to, I mean, I don't have children, but one day when I do, you know, it's something I can show my children, my nieces, my nephews, my grandkids that hey, there was a life altering movie out there that changed everything for hip hop in India, and you know, I was a part of it. So just going to the movie, my song is the first song you hear in the movie. Like if you watch the movie, what happens basically is that the credits start, and then at the start they steal a car. As soon as they steal the car, they turn the car on, and on the radio of the car they're stealing is my voice. Not only is it my song, it's my voice.
Yeah, because I was listening to the track and you're like right towards the beginning, aren't you, of the track?
Yeah. And it was funny because, you know, within the first minute of the movie I heard my voice. So it was like, wow, you know, I can't just as a regular person, just to hear you, just be sitting in a cinema and see your you know, your song in a movie. And then afterwards I saw the credits. They actually just 2 weeks ago they mailed me a vinyl. They started making the soundtrack on vinyl. So I'm just ecstatic about that, man. That was a life that was something off the bucket list. I was actually in a different movie too. I was in the movie a Bollywood movie called Love Ajgal a couple of years ago, maybe even close to 10 years ago now. It was a song called Twist. It was a very famous Bollywood song, and I had done all the background vocals on it as well.
That's cool, and obviously I can imagine that being part of just one or two movies automatically get you those connections for potentially more stuff in the future as well, because everyone knows each other, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, Bollywood is its own beast, right? So it doesn't sometimes like with hip hop, they're still kind of warming up to hip hop. So by automatically doing one doesn't guarantee you a place in another one or any type of credibility. It's just it's more of what I've noticed, like how I got into Gully Boy is I've just been releasing music, and I was in Italy 2 summers ago. I was 2, 3 summers ago. I was in Italy, and I got a random email and it said, "Hey, is this Blitzkrieg? Can I have your number? I want to call you." And I responded quite rudely because I was like, "If you're emailing me and you don't know this is me, bug off. I'm not going to give you my number. I don't know who this is." So finally, after a couple back and forth exchanges, they advised that they were doing production on the film. We talked, and they told me that they had found me from music videos that I had put out 10 years ago. They specifically referenced a song that I had done 10 years ago. And that kind of just goes to show to anybody that's listening that's a potential artist or a creative of any sorts. You never know who's watching your material and when they're going to discover it. So just keep being true to yourself, keep putting out good music, and the opportunity that's meant for you and it's right for you will present itself when the time is right.
It seems to be a regular theme with you, like doing stuff and then 10 years later, like you use it or it gets picked up, like, and it just goes to show, doesn't it? Like you just said, that doesn't matter. Like if something doesn't blow or if something's not the right time early on, doesn't mean that it's not going to get its due later on. So,
always. A member of my family used to always say, slow and steady wins the race. And I live by that. It's your investments today in yourself will pay off for the rest of your life. So, me and Roach are prime examples of that. We're still young men. Like you can look, not a gray hair, like we're still young. It's just that we've been doing it since we were kids. So we're still reaping the benefits. Like what I try to tell people, and not trying to sound conceited, is just being honest, is that we are the epitome of a life of an urban South Asian artist, in terms of somebody that you can literally go back on social media, on the internet, and be like, this guy wasn't lying. He's literally been playlisted on UK charts for almost 20 years, and he's still going. So that's the life of an artist. The life of an artist isn't something you see on TV where there's superstars, and no, it's a gradual thing, and the people that do become superstars all of a sudden, they quickly burn out and you'll never hear from them again.
Yeah. I can attest to that as well, by the way, that you definitely do not look like someone who's been in the game for 20 years. So,
I went to the store today. They asked me for my ID when I was buying a beer. I was like, what? Yeah. So, yeah, it's mad, bro. It's mad.
Thinking again about the UK scene, I wanted to ask, is there anyone in the UK scene at the moment who you've got your eye on in particular? Not necessarily Asian either, just anyone that you're a fan of.
I really like I just recently found out that he's actually from an older group called Foreign Beggars, but there's a rapper called Pav, and he, like, I don't know if you've seen him, he like paints his entire face blue and like he has this persona, but bro, he can rap, man. And then I really like there's an Asian kid from Birmingham called Sparkerman. I like Sparkerman can rap, man, and I like the other kid too, JJ Esco. JJ Esco can rap as well. So, when you see talent, I always recognize it. So specifically from the UK, it's those three, and obviously Roach Killer lives in UK still, so I'm always watching him. But he's a superstar already in terms of North America or worldwide. I don't think anybody out there doesn't like AP Dillon. Like AP Dillon and those guys, they're changing the sound of South Asian music. Like we're so traditionally, if you noticed, like the evolution of it, it went from being folk music to remixes to the Karan Aujla and the Sidhu Moosewalas, where what they were doing is they were taking traditional folk cadences and putting them on top of hip hop and trap beats. But now what AP Dillon and them have done is they're using Urdu, Punjabi, Hindi, but the cadence that they're singing it in is in a trap cadence on a trap beat. So if you weren't, even if you didn't know the language, it would sound like a trap song if you're listening to like AP Dillon song. And that's why it's so popular, because they're doing something that hasn't been done.
Yeah, it's what's called, it's accessible not just for those from the South Asian community. It's probably why it's done so well, like TikTok and that, because it is so catchy.
It's so catchy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So probably coming to the end of the interview now, but just thinking about the future. So you've already said that 3 albums ready to go. Like that's impressive.
Yeah, I got 3 more albums ready to go. Videos are already shot. So basically, anybody who doesn't follow me on Instagram at Blitz Music 1. That's the number 1. I literally release a brand new freestyle video or music video every Sunday at 11 a.m. Toronto time, 4 p.m. UK time. And I've been doing that since I got out of the hospital in February, and I plan to continue doing it. I mean, on my phone right now, I have enough material to carry me all the way until September. So I can guarantee you for the rest of the summer, every Sunday, I'm going to drop a different video. And yeah, I got 3 more projects. And man, you will totally different. Each one of them is sounding completely different, very different from demo tapes. And man, this is just the appetizer, bro. I'm just getting warmed up this year.
Thanks a lot for taking the time to speak to me. And if you ever are back in Manchester, just like literally hit us up, and it would be great to like meet you in person and maybe get you in the studio as well.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely be there. You know, a good mate of mine, we stayed with Surinder Ructon so many times. I've performed in Manchester so many times. I've gone to, what is it, the Printworks? Is it called the Printworks?
Yeah. Like to see like the cinema and that.
Yeah. All that, man. So I will definitely, next time I'm there, brother, we will meet in the flesh. You and me are connected now, so I'll definitely stay in touch with you. I'll be sending you new music as it comes out as well.
Yeah, definitely, please do.